Hello family. Welcome to Morales Stories, your home for gripping African tales. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Now sit back and enjoy the drama. The first time Jade met Harvey, she was perched on the edge of her bed, sketchbook open but untouched, when her mother ushered him through the front door of their modest suburban home. Camilla stood confidently in the doorway, elegant in a tailored blouse and dark jeans, hair styled in soft waves. She beamed, as if introducing the sun itself. Harvey followed, tall and composed, a bouquet of lilies in his hand, his suit crisp and well-cut. He nodded to Jade, lips curved in what should have been a warm smile. But to Jade, the stranger's expression seemed perfectly neutral. Lips parted, brows relaxed, eyes calm but somehow cold. "Hi, sweetheart," Camilla said, as Harvey knelt to Jade's level. "This is Harvey. He's been such a help around the house. Fixed the leaky sink, reorganized the pantry, even helped me plant those roses by the porch." "Hi, Jade," Harvey said, voice smooth and even. He extended the lilies toward her, but his eyes never quite met hers. Instead, they swept past, scanning the room as though assessing damage or plotting it. Jade forced a small smile and accepted the flowers. Their sweet scent mingled with the faint aroma of her evening cocoa. "Thank you," she said, gently placing the bouquet on her nightstand. Even as the petals brushed her fingers, she felt a chill. The first week was a whirlwind of kindness from Harvey. He brought Camilla breakfast in bed on Saturday mornings, volunteering to cook omelets and fresh juice. He surprised them with an impromptu date night in the living room, candlelight and wine, while Jade watched from the hallway, notebook in hand, secretly sketching the scene. She noticed that Harvey's gaze never settled on Camilla's face for more than a moment. Instead, he watched her shoulders, the way her hair fell over her collarbone. He seemed to study, not savor. One evening, Jade lingered in the kitchen while Harvey helped with the dishes. "Thank you for helping, Harvey," she said, leaning against the counter. "Mom says you're really good at fixing things." He rinsed a plate, set it on the rack, and turned to her, water droplets clinging to his dark hair. "I like making things run smoothly," he said. His tone was neutral, almost mechanical. "This house could use some smoothing out." Jade frowned. "What do you mean?" she asked, glancing back at the dining table where Camilla chatted animatedly about her day at work. He shrugged. "Clutter. Loose ends. Unkind habits." A small, clinical smile curved his lips. "I plan to refine things." Chills ran up Jade's spine. She nodded, pale. "Okay." That night, she crept into Camilla's room and watched her mother laugh at a sitcom rerun. Camilla's eyes sparkled, truly sparkled, for the first time in years. Jade remembered her mother's stories of past love, how her ex-husband cheated, how she'd slept on worn couches while her career took flight. Her heart twisted at the thought of her mother finally happy again. She wanted so badly to believe Harvey was the answer. But memories of Harvey's puzzled expression and the way he'd studied Jade's face lingered. As Jade climbed into bed, she saw the lilies on her nightstand, their petals pristine. Instinctively, she reached out, grazing a petal. It felt too perfect, like something encased in ice. She pulled her hand back. The memory of Harvey's words, refine, smooth, hovered in her mind like a threat. Over the next days, Jade watched Harvey's interactions. He never raised his voice. Instead, he used clipped sentences. "That shirt doesn't suit you, Jade. You talk too much at dinner. You should leave the cooking to someone more experienced." Each comment was minor, a pinprick of shame. Camilla defended him. "He's only trying to help you be your best," she insisted. But Jade noticed after each remark, Harvey's gaze flicked to her shoulders, her throat, as though measuring her reaction. The pinch of worry at her chest grew. She tried talking to her mother. "Mom, I don't think he likes me." Camilla sighed. "Honey, I told you, give him time. He's just new. You'll see." Jade's unease deepened when Harvey fixed her bicycle tire one afternoon. She'd scraped her knee playing soccer. Harvey examined the cut with scientific calm, then wiped it with antiseptic. His fingers lingered over the wound for a moment too long. "I'll put a proper bandage on it," he said, voice low. "Wouldn't want you to ruin your pretty skin." Jade tugged her leg away. "Thanks," she whispered, voice trembling. She hopped on the bike and pedaled away, heart hammering. That night, while Camilla cooked dinner in the kitchen, Jade retreated to her room and did what she had done for years when scared. She wrote in her diary. Only now, she didn't write about school or friends, she wrote about Harvey. She described his calm tone, the way he lingered, the comments that made her shrink. She wrote until the page blurred, tears smudging ink. Then she closed the diary and lay awake, listening to her mother's laughter downstairs. She wondered how long until laughter turned to silence. Just before sleep claimed her, Jade whispered into the darkness. "I don't like him. I don't trust him." She didn't know if anyone would believe her, if anyone could. But she vowed she wouldn't stop trying. Jade had learned to skirt her mother's approval like walking on a tightrope. One wrong step and the balance would snap. In the weeks since Harvey's arrival, the air in their home had grown taut, every corner heavy with expectations Jade couldn't name. She felt his eyes on her constant, as though he measured her spine's curvature, judged the tilt of her head. At first, it was only words, clipped remarks, subtle reprimands. But words can bruise just as deeply as fists. It began one Sunday afternoon. Camilla and Harvey planned a picnic in the park. Camilla fussed over the checkered blanket and wicker basket, humming as she packed sandwiches and fruit. Jade tagged along reluctantly, sketchbook in hand. Harvey opened the car door for Camilla and whispered something in her ear. Camilla laughed, then turned to Jade. "Don't be shy, honey. This will be fun." Her smile was genuine, but Jade saw the shadow of doubt flicker in her mother's eyes. At the park, Harvey spread the blanket and arranged the food. He handed Jade a strawberry. "Be careful," he said, voice soft but firm. "Those seeds can cut you." Jade blinked. "Seeds cut?" she repeated, taking the fruit. When she bit into it, juice stained her chin. Harvey's gaze sharpened. "Wipe it," he said. "You look a mess." Embarrassed, Jade dabbed her mouth with a napkin. She felt the blaze of eyes, Camilla's concern, Harvey's scrutiny. Later, as they walked along the path, Harvey reached behind Jade's back and steered her away from a group of children chasing a dog. "You're too loud, Jade," he said. "Act like a lady." Jade's cheeks flamed. She had been cheering at a squirrel, but now her voice felt wrong, an offense. Camilla patted her shoulder. "Ignore him," she murmured, but her tone carried something else, unspoken guilt. That night, Jade's forearm throbbed with a dull ache. She surveyed the small purple bruise that blossomed beneath her skin. It hadn't come from the picnic, she was sure. But Harvey had stood behind her, hand on her shoulder, the pressure enough to leave a mark. When she asked Camilla about it, her mother kissed her forehead. "You must have bumped into something," Camilla said. "Be more careful, sweetheart." Jade nodded, but her mind raced. Worse than the bruise was the denial. Her mother had seen it, maybe even known it wasn't an accident. Yet she chose to believe otherwise. Jade realized that in denying Harvey's cruelty, Camilla protected herself from another heartbreak. Jade understood. Her mother's love shielded Harvey even as he chipped away at their safety. Over the next week, the bruises multiplied, faint impressions on her shoulders, ghostly arcs on her wrists. None too severe, but each one a reminder of her powerlessness. Harvey never apologized. He simply said, "You should move more gracefully," or, "Stop making it so easy to hurt you." His words cut deeper than any clasp of his hand. At dinner one evening, Camilla complimented Harvey's cooking. He had prepared a roast chicken with rosemary and lemon. The aroma filled the dining room. Camilla smiled at him, then turned to Jade. "Try some chicken, honey." Jade forced herself to swallow a piece. It stuck in her throat. Harvey watched her chew. "You chew too loudly," he said. "People will think you're uncivilized." Jade's shoulders hunched. A single tear slid down her cheek. She blinked it away, swallowing the lump of shame. After clearing the plates, Jade retreated to her room. She sat at her desk, opened her notebook, and drew Harvey's face, stone-cold eyes, sculpted jaw, expression unreadable. She sketched the bruise on her arm, shading the purple bloom. Then she wrote in her diary, "He says he wants to refine us, but he breaks me instead." The pen trembled in her hand. She closed the book and pressed her head into her knees, fighting the despair threatening to swallow her. Camilla knocked at the door. "Baby, can we talk?" Jade wiped her eyes. "Not now," she whispered. Camilla sighed. "Just know I love you. Don't let him get to you." Her voice trembled with conflict. Jade realized her mother was caught in a web of fear and hope. Fear of Harvey's disapproval, hope that he was their savior. That night, Jade lay awake as the house settled. She heard Harvey's footsteps in the hallway. She hugged her blanket, heart pounding. He paused outside her door, then knocked softly. "Jade." His voice was low, almost gentle. "Open up." Fear froze her. "Go away," she whispered. "I'm sleeping." He sighed. "Suit yourself." She heard his retreating footsteps and the click of her mother's door closing down the hall. The next morning, Jade wore long sleeves, despite the summer heat. At school, she kept her arms pressed to her sides. Her best friend, Nia, noticed. "You okay?" she asked, examining Jade's sleeve. Jade shook her head. Nia frowned. "You look off." Jade forced a smile. "I'm fine." Nia didn't press, only offered a reassuring nod. At lunch, Jade slipped away to the girls' bathroom. She peeled back her sleeve and saw the bruise had faded to a dull green. She snapped a quick photo with her phone. Her thumb hovered over the delete button. Instead, she saved the image in a hidden folder. She needed proof. Words alone wouldn't save her. That afternoon, Miss Blake pulled Jade aside after class. "I got your note," she said quietly in the hallway. Jade's chest tightened. "I'm okay," she said. "I don't want to make trouble." Miss Blake's eyes were kind but firm. "I know you're scared, but I promise I'll help however I can." She handed Jade a small card. "Here's my number. Call me if you need anything." Jade tucked it into her pocket, heart heavy with both relief and guilt. Walking home, Jade rehearsed what she might say to Camilla. But when she stepped through the front door, Camilla greeted her with a warm hug. "How was school?" she asked, smiling. Jade's words stuck like stones in her throat. She couldn't tell her mother about Ms. Blake's concern. Camilla would shield Harvey again. Instead, Jade plastered on a smile. "It was fine," she said, and Camilla believed her. That evening, Harvey insisted on helping Jade with her homework. Camilla retreated to the living room to watch television. Jade sat at the dining table, textbooks spread out before her. Harvey hovered behind, correcting her algebra steps. "This is all wrong," he said. "Let me show you." He reached around her, standing so close Jade could feel his breath on her neck. His hand brushed her arm. She flinched. He glanced down at the bruise. "You really should be more careful." His voice was soft, but Jade recoiled. She pushed her chair back. "I got it," she said, voice shaking. Harvey stepped away, expression neutral. "Good." He resumed his spot beside Camilla, who was now knitting quietly. Camilla glanced at Jade, concern flickering in her eyes. Jade offered a tight smile. "I'm fine." That night, Jade lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Her arm throbbed, the bruise aching beneath her shirt. She thought of Ms. Blake's card in her pocket, the photo in her phone. She knew she needed to show her mother the evidence, but how could she break Camilla's heart? How could she convince her mother that the man she loved was the one inflicting these injuries? Tears slipped down Jade's cheeks. She whispered into the darkness, "I can't do this alone." And in that moment, something shifted. Determination replaced despair. Jade reached for her phone, thumb hovering over the photo of her bruise. She tapped share, selected Ms. Blake's number, and pressed send. A moment later, her phone chimed. A message from Ms. Blake. "I'm here for you. Whatever happens." Jade's breath caught. She slipped the phone under her pillow and closed her eyes. The pain in her arm pulsed, but so did a spark of hope. She wasn't entirely alone. As sleep claimed her, Jade vowed to gather more proof. She would record Harvey's words, document his squeeze, save every bruise until her mother could no longer deny the truth. For in the shadows where bruises hide, Jade would shine a light, and refuse to be silenced again. Jade had become meticulous. Every night before bed she checked the lock, turned it twice, and wedged a chair under the handle. The night was heavy with rain and wind rattled the shutters. Lightning cracked overhead as Jade tucked herself under the soft comforter, clutching her diary to her chest. Her diary was her sanctuary. Its leather cover held every fear, every whispered warning, every bruise she could not show her mother. Inside those pages were secrets too dangerous to speak aloud. Jade had hidden the diary inside her bedside table in a hollowed compartment. No one knew of its existence, and she rested easier knowing it was safe. That night, thunder roared, and Jade drifted into uneasy sleep. She dreamed of shadows slithering across the hallway, converging at her door. In her dream, the lock turned, the chair slid away, and the door creaked open. She woke with a start at exactly 2:17 a.m., heart hammering, breath shallow. The room was pitch black except for the intermittent flash of lightning through the window. She glanced at the clock on her dresser. The red numbers glowed 2:17. Her skin prickled. Jade froze as she heard it, a soft, deliberate creak. The door was ajar. She had locked it. Her breath caught in her throat. He was there. Harvey. Her pulse pounded in her ears. She reached for her phone on the nightstand, thumb shaking, but the battery was dead. Panic clenched her ribs. With deliberate calm, she rolled onto her side, pretending to sleep, clutching the diary beneath her pillow. The footsteps came closer, slow and measured. She heard the floorboard creak as someone entered. Fear coated her mind in ice. She squeezed her eyes shut, every muscle taut. She imagined him reaching for the diary, tossing it aside, smashing her one refuge. Then the footsteps paused. A soft rustle. She heard the drawing of assembled papers. The diary was completely gone. In the morning, Jade emerged from her room at the edge of dawn, arms wrapped around herself. The house smelled of damp wood and coffee brewing. Camilla bustled in the kitchen, distracted, humming a tune. Jade's chest tightened as she passed the open space where her bedside table sat. Her eyes darted to the hollow compartment. It was empty. "Mom," she said, voice trembling. "Have you seen my diary?" Camilla turned, apron dusted with flour. "Your diary?" She frowned, wiping her hands on her apron. "You mean your school planner?" Jade shook her head. "My diary. It was here. On the table." Camilla's lips pressed together. She looked at Jade's bedside table, then glanced away. "Sweetheart, you probably misplaced it. You know how you misplace things." Jade's throat tightened. It wasn't misplaced. Someone took it. Camilla hesitated. "Jade, I'm sure it's here somewhere. Check again later." She patted Jade's shoulder. "Don't worry. It'll turn up." But Jade knew. Her sanctuary had been violated. The pages within held her soul. Without them she was exposed. Her mother's denial cut deeper than any bruise. If Camilla could dismiss her once more, Jade was truly alone. She retreated to the attic where she kept her old school projects. The dusty beams above her head made her skin crawl. She rummaged through boxes of childhood knickknacks, broken trophies, old report cards, forgotten paintings. She found nothing. The diary was completely gone. Back downstairs, Camilla hugged her and said, "Stop worrying, love. Let's have pancakes." But Jade couldn't eat. Her mother's words echoed with the weight of abandonment. In the days that followed, Jade watched Harvey more closely. She studied his footsteps in the hall, his shadow passing under her door. She hid her phone under her pillowcase and whispered into the voice memo, "Harvey entered my room last night. My diary is missing. Mother doesn't believe me." She recorded until tears blurred her vision. That afternoon, Jade sat in the library and scribbled a note to Ms. Blake. "They took my diary. I'm scared." It quietly went into the teacher's drawer after class. Ms. Blake gave Jade a small, knowing nod. At home, Jade avoided Harvey's gaze. He asked, "Where's your diary, Jade?" "I'm not talking about it," she replied, voice low. He studied her face. "Fine." Camilla stepped in. "Honey, it's fine. Let's move on." Her mother's voice held the same reassurance that masked her disbelief. Jade realized Camilla was choosing Harvey's comforting facade over her daughter's truth. That evening, Jade locked herself in the bathroom. She stared at her reflection in the mirror, eyes bloodshot. She touched her arm, expecting phantom bruises. But it was the emptiness inside that hurt most. She knew she needed a plan beyond words or drawings. She needed tangible proof. She needed to show her mother what Harvey had done. Jade crept into the family room where Harvey and Camilla watched television. She sank onto the floor beside Camilla and leaned her head on her mother's knee. Camilla stroked her hair absent-mindedly. Jade whispered, "I need you to believe me." Camilla paused the show. She looked at her daughter's tear-stained face. "Sweetheart, I do believe you. But maybe you're overstressed about school." Jade pulled away. "No. It's him." Camilla's eyes flickered to Harvey, who sat impassive. He looked away. Camilla took a breath. "Jade, stop this. You're imagining things." Jade's heart shattered. She fled to her room, locking the door. She sat on the floor and pressed her back against it. She wept until the tears dried. And then she stopped. She lifted her head and stared at the wall. She unwrapped the gift she had received earlier that year, a lightweight voice recorder from Camilla for her birthday. She pressed the record button and began speaking. "My name is Jade. On the night of July 7th, Harvey entered my room and took my diary. He denied me my only refuge. My mother does not believe me. This is not imagination." She taped the recorder under her bed frame, out of sight. She placed her phone in the hollowed book on the shelf. Every night she would record. Every whisper, every door creak, every bruise she could not show. She would build her case in secret until the truth burned through the silence. The next morning, Jade emerged at breakfast, expression flat. Camilla frowned. "You seem distant." Jade nodded. "I'm okay." Harvey studied her. "Good." The day passed in a haze. At dinner, Camilla laughed at a joke from Harvey. Jade ate in silence, eyes flicking to the recorder hidden nearby. She felt a small surge of power. The diary might be gone, but her voice would remain. And someday her mother would have to listen. When Camilla turned out the lights, Jade slipped the recorder out and backed away. She pressed stop. She opened the file list. 1 recording, 6 minutes, 42 seconds. She tapped play. Harvey's gentle voice crackled through the speaker, followed by the creak of the door. She saved it. It was her weapon. Jade lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. The bruise on her arm throbbed faintly, but her mind buzzed with a new resolve. In the shadows at the door, she would no longer be silent. She would gather every whisper, every bruise, every proof until her mother could no longer deny what was inside their home. And in that darkness, Jade vowed to become the light. Over the next 2 years, Jade perfected her invisibility in the house she once called home. She moved like a shadow through each room, slipping away whenever Harvey appeared or when Camilla and Harvey argued quietly in the kitchen. At school, she sat at the back of the classroom, only raising her hand when necessary and speaking in soft, measured tones. Even on the soccer field, she played without cheering, hiding her exhilaration in the confines of her chest. At night, Jade returned to a home that seemed to shrink around her bruises and broken trust. Yet from fear, Jade forged determination. She would collect proof until the truth could no longer be ignored. She retrieved an old hardcover novel from her shelf and, with careful precision, hollowed out its center to create a secret compartment. Inside, she slipped a small flash drive, metallic and unassuming. This drive became her private vault. Audio recordings of Harvey's controlling whispers, photographs of bruises as they faded from purple to green, screenshots of cruel text messages sent in the dead of night. Each evening, after Camilla fell asleep, Jade crept to her desk, connected the flash drive to her laptop, and uploaded the latest files. A clipped audio of Harvey snapping, "Keep quiet or I'll correct you," a photo of her evening bruise, the time-stamped screenshot of "Don't disappoint me again." Each file was named by date and category. One evening, Camilla returned from a late shift at the hospital, exhaustion lining her face. Harvey greeted her with a bouquet of tulips and a gentle kiss on each cheek. "You're my hero," he murmured, voice soft enough for only Camilla to hear. Genuine relief washed across her face as she accepted the flowers, but Jade watched from the hallway, remembering how he had once told her, "Behave yourself, or I will correct you." Jade slipped into her room and uploaded a new audio clip, Harvey's calm, cruel voice repeating, "You will do exactly as I say." At school, Jade confided in her favorite teacher, Ms. Blake, during lunch in the library. She softly played a clipped recording, Harvey's voice, calm yet cruel, saying, "You will do exactly as I say." She showed Ms. Blake a recent bruise photo on her phone. Ms. Blake's expression shifted from surprise to sorrow. She closed the book she had been reading and placed a hand on Jade's arm. "You are so brave to show me this," she whispered. Jade swallowed hard. "How will I know when to show my mother?" Ms. Blake squeezed her shoulder gently. "When your mother can no longer doubt what she has seen, and you feel safe doing it." Back home, Jade studied Harvey's patterns like an investigator. He favored moments when Camilla was distracted, book club meetings or church choir rehearsals, to tighten his grip. One Sunday, while Camilla sang alto, Jade lingered near the car. Harvey blocked her exit and hissed, "Stop following me." His tone was low, urgent. Jade pretended to adjust her backpack and slipped away when Camilla waved for her. Later, she recorded his footsteps and whispered threats, adding the file to her flash drive. Harvey's tactics grew subtler. He began sending Jade text messages after midnight, "I'm watching," or "Don't disappoint me again." Each notification jolted her from sleep. She immediately forwarded each message to the drive and deleted them from her phone. When Camilla asked why she looked tired the next morning, Jade blamed nightmares. Camilla nodded sympathetically and offered tea. Jade accepted, hiding relief that Camilla still cared about her well-being, even if she did not yet fully understand the cause. One stormy night, a sudden blackout plunged the house into pitch darkness. Camilla searched for candles, and Harvey calmly lit each one before guiding his wife back inside. "Stay close," he murmured to Jade, who stood trembling in the hallway. Shame and anger coiled in Jade's gut. At midnight, when the house murmured with rain beating the windows, Jade crept downstairs, retrieved the flash drive from its hiding place, and slipped it into her backpack. She whispered to the empty hallway, "You cannot take this from me." The next morning, during homeroom, Jade slipped a folded note and the flash drive into Ms. Blake's locked drawer. The note read, "In case I cannot speak, please use this." Ms. Blake's hand enveloped Jade's as she placed a reassuring finger on her knuckle. In that moment, Jade realized she was no longer alone. Over the following months, Jade lived a double life. By day, she was a quiet student lost in textbooks. By night, she was the curator of damning evidence. She recorded a heated conversation where Harvey snapped, "You're worthless if you defy me." She captured video of him squeezing her wrist, leaving a red imprint. Each new file was meticulously dated and added to the flash drive, which she mirrored on a secure cloud account under a pseudonym. Her room transformed into a clandestine command center, the drive's LED blinking softly beside her notebook as she planned her next move. At home, Camilla maintained her routines: early mornings at the hospital, evenings cooking with Harvey's help, weekends at church picnics. Jade attended services but no longer knelt in prayer. Instead, she clutched her flash drive beneath her hymnal, heart racing as the choir sang hymns of safety she did not feel. She whispered silent prayers for strength. One Sunday afternoon, after the final organ chord faded, Jade followed Camilla into the living room. Harvey was in the kitchen. Jade said, "Mom, may I talk to you?" Camilla looked up, curiosity flickering in her eyes. "Of course, darling." Jade took a steadying breath. "Please watch this." She handed her mother the flash drive. Camilla's brow furrowed as she examined it. "What is this?" Jade's voice quivered but grew firm. "It's all the proof of what's been happening to me." Harvey appeared at the doorway, his face a mask of concern. "What are you doing?" Camilla held the drive to her chest. Jade met Harvey's eyes. "I'm tired of hiding. This ends now." Camilla hesitated before inserting the drive into the TV console. A directory labeled Evidence appeared on screen. Camilla clicked an audio file. Harvey's voice echoed, "You belong to me." She gasped and pressed rewind. Next, she selected a photo album, bruises blooming on Jade's arm in shades of purple and blue. Tears streamed down Camilla's face. Harvey's jaw clenched. The final selection was a video, Jade recoiling as his hand pressed into her shoulder. Camilla dropped to her knees beside Jade. Jade sank to the floor, wrapping her arms around her mother. Harvey stilled, watching as Camilla wept. Camilla whispered, "I'm so sorry, baby." Jade pressed her cheek to her mother's. "I'm safe now," she said softly. Camilla wiped her tears and looked at Harvey, who stood pale and silent. "This is over," she said. The flash drive lay between them on the coffee table, a small device that carried the weight of their shattered lives and the promise of justice. Outside, distant sirens approached, a promise of help. Camilla held Jade in her arms as police lights danced through the windows. They waited in silence, hearts pounding. Jade thought of every hidden recording, every photograph, and every message she had saved, evidence of her survival. She glanced at the flash drive, knowing it had changed their lives. Camilla looked at her daughter with tears and resolution. "We're safe now," she whispered. Jade nodded, relief flooding her chest. As dawn's first light crept across the curtains, Jade realized she could finally exhale deeply. In that moment, she vowed to share her story and help others who still suffered. She would choose joy again, wholeheartedly, and step away from shadows and into the light. The morning of Camilla's 35th birthday dawned bright and clear, a welcome relief after weeks of unrelenting rain. Jade slipped into the kitchen before sunrise, inhaling the aroma of fresh coffee and vanilla pancakes. Decorations twinkled in the corner, rose gold balloons clustered above the mantel, pastel streamers draped around the bay window, and a table groaning beneath platters of fruit, quiches, and Camilla's favorite almond croissants. Camilla had invited family and close friends, 20 souls in total, to celebrate her new chapter. Yet despite the festive atmosphere, Jade's stomach twisted with nerves. Tonight's gathering would mark the moment she either remained silent or finally shattered the silence once and for all. As Camilla flitted between the oven and the sink, humming along to a jazz playlist, Jade moved with quiet purpose. She gathered extra batteries for her phone camera, slipped the small flash drive into her pocket, and checked the hidden recorder tucked beneath her dress. She needed a flawless plan. Any misstep could cost her safety. Across the room, Harvey arranged candles on a sideboard, his expression focused and calm. He caught Jade's eye and offered a polite nod, an action so innocuous it held no warmth. Jade forced a smile and whispered, "Everything's ready." He inclined his head and turned away, seemingly unaware of her plan. Or so she hoped. That afternoon, just before guests arrived, Jade slipped outside to speak with Ms. Blake, who lived next door with her aunt. The teacher crouched against the garden fence, holding a wrapped gift. "Are you sure you're okay?" Ms. Blake asked, concern knitting her brow. Her dark eyes glistened with empathy. "You don't have to go through with this if you're not ready." Jade pressed her lips together, heart pounding. "I have to, Mrs. Blake. Tonight he praises Mom. I'll show her who he really is." Ms. Blake handed her a slim envelope. "If things go wrong, call me immediately. I'll be there." Jade nodded, pocketing the envelope. "Thank you." The teacher hugged her gently, imparting strength. Jade inhaled, squared her shoulders, and walked back inside. By 6 o'clock, the first guests arrived. The living room filled with laughter as cousins greeted Camilla with hugs and birthday wishes. Jade stood nearby, offering plates of hors d'oeuvres and pouring sparkling cider. She watched Camilla's face light up as friends admired the decorations. Harvey drifted among the guests, his perfect manners on display, pouring wine for the adults, complimenting Camilla's dress, smoothing every moment into an image of marital bliss. Beneath Jade's calm exterior, every fiber of her being ached to unmask him. At 8, a local DJ, Camilla's longtime friend, Derek, set up his equipment in the corner of the room. He would spin jazz and soul classics until late. Jade approached him with practiced casualness. "Hey, Derek," she said, voice steady. He grinned, dark headphones around his neck. "Ready to make this party pop?" Jade gestured to his laptop. "Mind if I upgrade your memory stick?" She slipped the flash drive, small, unremarkable, into his USB port. Derek swiveled his chair to check the screen. "Everything looks good." Jade patted his shoulder. "Thanks." She stepped away, heart hammering as the drive slid into place. Next stop, Camilla's speech. At 8:30, the room dimmed, guests gathered around. Camilla stood, flushed with joy and a little wine. "I can't believe 35 feels this good," she exclaimed, raising a glass. Applause followed. Then Harvey took the floor beside her, offering his arm. He beamed at Camilla, and at last turned to the crowd, glass raised. "To my wife," he began, voice warm and sincere. "You have changed my life in ways I never thought possible." His words flowed flawlessly, gratitude for her strength, admiration for her kindness, praise for her resilience. Guests smiled and toasted. Camilla leaned into him, eyes shining. But then Harvey tapped the glass. He clicked a button on the DJ's console. The speakers crackled, and suddenly Harvey's smooth voice shifted tone, becoming cold, clipped, accusing. "You disobeyed me again tonight, Jade. You must learn your place. One more slip and I'll make sure you regret it." The words pummeled the room. Confusion rippled through the guests as the audio continued. "Your arm was too soft, your mouth too loud. Behave or I will correct you." Faces turned toward the speaker, mouths agape. Camilla froze, her hand slipping from Harvey's arm. The wineglass she held shattered on the hardwood floor, ruby liquid seeping into the grain. Silence crashed over the gathering. Jazz music died in mid-beat. Guests stared at Harvey in horror. Camilla's eyes filled with tears as the recording ended, leaving an echoing void. Harvey opened his mouth, searching for control, but no words came. He looked at Camilla, panic flickering in his eyes for the first time. Camilla stared back, shock and betrayal plain on her face. Jade, standing in the crowd, felt her pulse thunder in her ears. She took a slow step forward, gaze unwavering. "Believe me now," she said, voice calm but resonant. The 3 words cut through the hush, hanging like a challenge. Guests looked between mother and daughter, confusion giving way to horror. A cousin stepped forward, eyes wide. "Camilla, is that true?" Camilla sank to the floor beside the smashed glass, hands trembling. She glanced at Jade, then at Harvey, realization breaking her heart. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Jade," tears streamed down her cheeks. Harvey lunged for the microphone. "No, it's a mistake, someone's playing a prank," he stammered, voice cracking. But the room was lost to him. Friends clustered around Camilla, comforting her, offering tissues. Some fled to call for help. Derek the DJ lowered his headphones, horror on his face. I'm so sorry," he stammered. "I thought it was a test track." Camilla shook her head, tears soaking her cheeks. It was no test. Security, Camilla's sister and brother, rushed in, shoulder to shoulder. They formed a protective circle around Camilla and Jade. Harvey backed away, his immaculate composure shattered. He glared at Jade with a venom she had never seen before. "You," he spat. "You did this." Jade met his gaze, unflinching. "I did. You wouldn't listen." Her voice held a clarity born of years of silence. "Now everyone knows." Camilla wrapped her arms around Jade. "My baby," she sobbed, pressing Jade to her chest. The soft tremor in her voice spoke of guilt and regret. "I'm so sorry I doubted you." Jade rested her head against Camilla's shoulder, relief and sorrow mingling. Friends gathered closer, murmuring support. "We believe you," one aunt whispered. "He'll pay for this." Another cousin placed a hand on Harvey's shoulder. "You're not leaving, police are coming." Harvey's face went white. He looked around, panic and realization dawning that he had lost control, lost Camilla's faith, lost everything. Camilla wrapped her arms around Jade. "My baby," she sobbed, pressing Jade to her chest. The soft tremor in her voice spoke of guilt and regret. "I'm so sorry I doubted you." Jade rested her head against Camilla's shoulder, relief and sorrow mingling. Friends gathered closer, murmuring support. "We believe you," one aunt whispered. "He'll pay for this." Another cousin placed a hand on Harvey's shoulder. "You're not leaving, police are coming." Harvey's face went white. He looked around, panic and realization dawning that he had lost control, lost Camilla's faith, lost everything. As the sirens wailed in the distance, Jade felt the weight of her 2-year vigil lift from her shoulders. The flash drive had done more than expose Harvey. It had freed her mother's heart from denial. News cameras and police would swarm soon, but in that moment, Jade and Camilla held each other, surrounded by love and shock. The truth had convulsed the room, turned a celebration into a reckoning. "Thank you," Camilla whispered into Jade's hair. Jade shook her head, voice muffled. "Thank you for believing me, now." Camilla pulled back, wiping her eyes. She looked at her daughter with awe. "You saved me." Jade managed a small, tired smile. "We saved each other." As guests rallied around Camilla, offering hugs and assurances, Jade scanned the room. Faces soaked with compassion and outrage met her eyes. The gathering's purpose had shifted, from a birthday celebration to a moment of solidarity and justice. Through the shattered wine glass and stunned silence, a new truth had emerged, one forged by Jade's courage, one that would bind mother and daughter stronger than ever. Tonight, the silence was finally broken. The police cruiser's red and blue lights flickered against the front windows of the house as officers guided Harvey into the backseat. He turned his head, eyes glazed with fury and disbelief, scanning the living room one last time before the door slammed shut. Camilla stood at the center of the room, arms wrapped around Jade, both surrounded by friends and family. The hum of whispered condolences filled the air as the final piece of Harvey's perfect facade fell away. Officer Daniels approached Camilla gently. "Ma'am, I know this is difficult, but can you come with me to the station to give your statement?" Camilla nodded, voice small. "Of course," she whispered. She squeezed Jade's hand one last time. "Stay with Ms. Blake," she said, and turned toward the officer. Jade watched her mother go, heart heavy yet strangely relieved. Ms. Blake placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "I'll stay with you," she assured. Jade nodded and exhaled a shaky breath. She had expected chaos, but watching her mother step forward with quiet dignity filled her with pride. In the weeks that followed, the investigation unfolded like a storm. Detectives combed through the recordings on Jade's flash drive, cataloging evidence of Harvey's abuse, threats, and manipulation. Camilla spent hours at the station, recounting every moment she had dismissed, every bruise she had explained away. With each admission, Camilla felt the weight of guilt crushing her chest. But she also felt something she had not known in years: clarity. Back at home, under a court order, Harvey was prohibited from returning. Camilla changed the locks and installed new security cameras. Jade painted her bedroom walls a soft sky blue, reclaiming the space where shadows once haunted her. She pressed her palm to the smooth surface, breathing in the fresh paint, knowing she was safe now. Camilla emerged from the station one afternoon, eyes red but determined. She held a set of court documents and nodded to Jade, who ran into her arms. "I gave my statement," Camilla said quietly. "I told them everything. I'm so sorry for doubting you, baby. I promise I'll never let you down again." Jade pressed her face against Camilla's jacket. "I know you love me. That's what matters." Camilla set the documents on the kitchen counter. "Legal restraining order," she explained. "Harvey will be paying child support for you too." Jade blinked. "He has to." Camilla gave a small smile through her tears. "Yes. And he'll face charges of assault and coercion." Jade exhaled, relief and vindication mingling in her chest. School resumed in full swing, but Jade rarely spoke of the trial that loomed. She had learned to compartmentalize her trauma, store it away until she was ready. Instead, she focused on art club and soccer practice, celebrating small victories. A goal scored, a painting accepted by the local gallery, a genuine laugh shared with friends. Miss Blake monitored her quietly, offering gentle support when needed. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Jade sat at her desk drafting a post for a teen awareness blog. She typed, "I saw the shadows at my door. I felt the weight of his silence. But when the truth burned through, I chose to speak. You are not alone. I am Jade, and this is my voice. Let it be yours too." She hesitated, then hit publish under a pseudonym. The next morning, she woke to hundreds of comments. "Thank you, Jade. I experienced this too. You saved me." The message thread filled with stories of survival and hope. Jade closed her laptop, tears pricking her eyes. She realized her story was bigger than shame, it was a beacon. Camilla discovered the post that afternoon. She wrapped Jade in a hug and read the words aloud. "This saved me," she whispered, voice trembling. Jade looked up, vulnerability shining in her eyes. "I wanted others to know it's possible to escape." Camilla kissed her forehead. "You've lit a torch that will guide many." When the trial began, Camilla and Jade sat together in the courtroom. Harvey entered in handcuffs, eyes hollow. Prosecutors laid out the evidence: audio recordings of threats, photographs of bruises, expert testimony on coercive control. Camilla testified, voice steady, describing the agony of denial and the relief of believing her daughter. Jade sat beside her, steady and silent. In the gallery, supporters wore teal ribbons, symbol of domestic abuse awareness, and nodded in solidarity. After days of testimony, the jury returned a verdict of guilty on all counts. The judge sentenced Harvey to prison time and probation, emphasizing that coercive control was a grave crime. As the gavel struck, Camilla sobbed quietly into Jade's hair. Jade felt the finality settle over them. Justice had been served. Life after the trial felt surreal. The media approached Jade's blog as a source, featured her post in a local newspaper. A camera crew for a national news program requested an interview under her pseudonym. Jade agreed on her own terms. She sat under soft lighting, voice calm, sharing the story of the hidden silence that nearly consumed her family. She spoke of hope, resilience, and the power of truth. Months passed. Camilla enrolled in therapy to heal from guilt and trauma. She and Jade attended mother-daughter support groups, forging a bond deeper than any fear. On weekends, they hiked trails together, shared cooking experiments, and planned a future unclouded by shadows. Jade prepared for her freshman year of high school with excitement. She joined the school newspaper as an advice columnist under her real name, offering guidance to peers facing silent struggles. Her column, Shadows and Light, became a trusted space for voices that trembled in the dark. Spring arrived with cherry blossoms lining the walk to school. Ms. Blake awaited Jade at the gate. "Big day," she said, handing Jade copies of the local paper. At dawn, students assembled around a blank wall. Camilla stood with paintbrush in hand. Jade joined her on the ladder, adding final strokes to a phoenix emerging from ashes. The design revealed silhouettes breaking free from chains. A hush fell as Camilla cut a ceremonial ribbon. Students cheered, and a senior approached Jade. "Your story changed me," she whispered. Jade nodded, overwhelmed by relief and pride. That afternoon, Camilla held a support group meeting at the neighborhood center. Survivors formed a circle of chairs. A young mother entered hesitantly until Camilla welcomed her warmly. "You are safe here," Camilla said. Jade passed out tissues and water. The group shared stories and hope for healing. Months later, Jade's painting "No More Shadows" stood in a local gallery. Visitors paused before it, reading a plaque about survival and truth. A reporter interviewed Jade under dim spotlights. Jade spoke softly, "Art helped me speak when I could not use words. May it help others find their voice." Flashbulbs popped and conversations sparked. On the anniversary of the gathering, Camilla and Jade hosted a celebration under lanterns. Laughter echoed as survivors and friends toasted. Camilla raised her glass. "To honesty." Jade raised hers. "To light." That evening, they sat on the porch watching fireflies. Camilla brushed Jade's hair from her face. "Thank you for giving me back my life." Jade leaned on her. "We saved each other. I love you." A single firefly blinked. Jade whispered, "This is our light." The end. Love the story? Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and become part of the Morales Stories family. Your support helps us bring more powerful African tales to life. Thanks for watching. We can't wait to share the next one with you. See you soon.